and welcome to our season of Issues and Answers with yours truly, Honorable Valencia Stovall. Today is Monday, February the 19th, and you're listening to the new WCEG Network on WCEG Talk Radio. You can listen to us on the live stream tab and watch us live on your smart TV, YouTube, Twitter X, Facebook, and LinkedIn. We're the worldwide community empowerment group where we speak life into the community. You can subscribe free to our YouTube channel at WCEG Network, and we have several platforms that you can go to on your Apple Store or Google Play Store. We're on Roku streaming, and you can also say, Alexa, play WCEG Talk Radio. We have 12 podcast distribution platforms as well. And I must give this disclaimer as I do every show. The topics and opinions are those of the show hosts and guests and not of WCEG Network. We thank you for your continued support, and please tell a friend to join us. I also, I always start off with taking a moment of silence for those who are no longer here with us on earth and those who are not able to live an active quality of life. And of course, my dear friend is still remains hospitalized, but we know God is in control. Now, what have you heard about the people in Georgia who have lost their Medicaid coverage? Georgia had one of the highest rate of uninsured residents among children and adults that was prior to the pandemic. Since the pandemic, those numbers have risen. According to the AJC, 488,000 people have been removed, and that was as of January of this year. Now, before then, there were over 500,000. That should be enough to make you say what? Yeah, which is another part of the segment of the show. But today's discussion is about souls to Medicaid 911. There's a 911 emergency for Medicaid recipients who, at no fault of their own, have been removed from the Medicaid system and deemed ineligible. Medicaid recipients are legally entitled to be covered, but that has not what has happened in Georgia. So let's get right into it. I'm honored to have as my featured guest none other than Bishop Norman O. Harper, who holds many titles, like pastor of Kelly Lake Cathedral Church of God in Christ in Decatur. He's also the South Central Georgia Bishop for the South Central Georgia and the Southeast Regional Bishop. I am also joined by Elder Kaiser Edmond, who's a member of the Political Action for South Central Georgia Jurisdiction, Pastor Allen W. Cater Jr. of Walking by Faith Ministries, Church of God in Christ, and also a member of the Political Action for South Central Georgia Jurisdiction, and Mother JoAnn Davis, who is a volunteer who is helping individuals to navigate their lost coverages. And although we also had Evangelist Mary Ward Cater, who was not able to join us due to a scheduled conflict, but her testimony would definitely be shared throughout this particular program. And she is the president of the Political Action for South Central Georgia Jurisdictional. So welcome, everyone. I really appreciate you all taking time to be able to join us on this most important subject when it comes to Medicaid loss. And so I would also like to ask each of you all, I just gave a brief overview of who you are, but if you could take about 2 minutes or less to tell the audience about yourself and why is this issue of Medicaid important to you that brought you to this show today? And I'll start with Bishop Harper.
Well, thank you, Representative Stovall. This Medicare issue is very, very, very close to me personally, not just in a broader sense with approximately 500,000 people off the Medicaid roll, but as a pastor, as a leader of the congregation, it just hit right home with my constituents, or shall I say, the members who I serve as pastor, not only at Kelly Lake Cathedral, but throughout the South Central Georgia jurisdiction, and in fact, throughout the 5 geographical states that I serve as regional bishop. Many of those people are under my leadership, and my heart goes out to them, as well as all who have lost their Medicaid privileges. And so it's very, very close. It hits home with me. I am, mildly to say, I am disturbed by it. And I want to do everything within my power to help get those people back on the Medicaid rolls.
All right, thank you so very much, Bishop. And you're right, there is hitting at home, with your congregation and those that you oversee in the Southeast region. So we're talking about in Georgia, but it is all the states that receive Medicaid who are the people that are affected. So we're just taking the lead here in Georgia and looking forward to others picking up that baton and carrying it on. So next we will hear from Elder Kaiser. Edmond, unmute yourself.
Unmute.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Representative Stovall and Bishop and Elder Cater. Yes, my name is Elder Kaiser Edmond, and I've been a member of this, I believe, of this political action committee that was established by Bishop since its inception. And in my role, Missionary Cater kind of heads this up, and in my role, I support her the best I can in those efforts. Previously, we've been involved with the Souls to the Polls with Bishop and that initiative. But this is something that came up, and while I personally and my family, my wife and I are not personally at this time impacted by it, it's something that's near and dear to my heart. I know Bishop mentioned the members who haven't been impacted, but we have family members in this state. We have family members in the state that I come from in Florida who depend on these programs. And personally, I advocate, I support candidates who support programs like Medicaid for the people who these programs most of the time are for people who need them the most. And it's sad to see what has gone on with this program, that with so many people unaware lost coverage. So yes, we are on this. We want to see this this initiative go forward, and then we hopefully can work to help people get back in their status back. So I'm just happy to be here.
All right, thank you, and we appreciate that. And like you said, even though some people that are listening may not be personally, affected, but I guarantee someone who is receiving Medicaid and may not even know they've been removed, from the Medicaid roll. So next we'll hear from Pastor Alan Cater Jr. Will you just tell us, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself and why are you concerned about Medicaid loss in Georgia?
Well, certainly, God bless you, Representative Stovall, and to Bishop and to Elder Edmond. It's a blessing. I am Pastor Alan Cater Jr. again, and I'm the district chairman of the Boughton District, where my superintendent is Rodney Hill and district missionary Lucy Hill. I'm a product of Atlanta, Georgia. I'm a Grady baby, and I love my Georgia peaches. I'm very concerned about things that are happening to our families and what is going on with this Medicaid. It really touched my heart. I have personal family members that was affected by it. And, I believe what is happening right now, we're going to reach out and be able to touch the governor and the people that have the pen to be able to stroke it and make things happen. And so we need their help. You know, I have family members, my uncle, my mother, you know, and just other people on my job, people that I work with, not only just in the church, but friends and families that I know. And I'm just concerned. We're living in such a time to where people are stressing out, and you know, we're living check to check. And so we don't need people to not have Medicare or need medical assistance and cannot get it. And so my heart just go out to them. I'm concerned about it. I'm also just a member of the PAC, which is the Political Action Team. Yes, ma'am. So with me being a part of that team, you know, my duty is to assist in whatever assignment that is given to me. And, you know, I'm here to be a voice as a pastor, to reach other pastors and reach across the line to other congregations that need help, that people need assistance, to let them know where to go. And so that's what we're here today for, and we're just concerned about it. We know things are going to happen, and we thank you for this panel.
Thank you. Appreciate that, Pastor Cater. And especially, you know, knowing that you have, you know, family members who have been personally affected. So you've seen what they had to go through, and we'll definitely talk about some of those struggles in the show. Next, we have Mother JoAnn Davis, and we appreciate you, Mother Davis, for joining us. Please tell the audience a little about yourself, and of course about the volunteer work that you have decided to do your part with making sure that individuals know know that they may have lost coverage, and for them to check their eligibility status.
Thank you so much, Honorable Stovall, and much honor to Bishop Harper and Elder Kaiser and Pastor Cater. I am JoAnn Davis, and I'm a member of Paradise Church of God in Christ, and my pastor is Bishop Paul Fortson and Mother Carolyn Fortson. And I'm happy to be here. I play a big role at my church. I'm over the senior ministry, where I do help the seniors in the community and at my church. But before then, I volunteered with the Council on Aging for 15 years, and we were able to touch seniors all over Georgia. And that was closed. It didn't get funded, so it was closed. So now the seniors don't have any place to go to get help. And I am really concerned about that, because there are thousands and thousands of seniors that need help. And so many of them have lost their benefits. Some of them because they didn't realize, after receiving a letter, they didn't realize they needed to be recertified. Some of them didn't know how to fill the form out. So I am happy to be a part of this committee to help the senior. I advocate for the senior. I'm a senior, and I pray that we will be successful in what we're doing to get the people back, to get the benefits back to the people, because they deserve it. They've worked and paid taxes all of their working years, so they deserve it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mother Davis, and much appreciation for the work that you are doing and continue to do, and especially taking your experience, you know, with working with seniors, because that's a large number of those that were dropped from the coverage, and many of them believe that they still have insurance. And some of you all may think, well, if they go to the doctor on a regular basis, then they would have known that their coverage was dropped. But in many cases, some seniors don't have to go every month. Like my dad, he's 83. He doesn't have to go to the doctor every month, but he has Medicare and Medicaid. And we mentioned Evangelist Cater earlier. And one situation that happened with her was she has Medicaid and Medicare. And her Medicaid portion was what was dropped during this whole situation with the federal and state government. And because of that, that paid a large portion of her medical bills, especially her prescription and other things that she no longer had access to be able to get. So that meant she couldn't get her medicine, and also be able to see the doctors like she needs to see them. And so when you have those situations that happen all of a sudden, what are the people supposed to do? It just so happened, of course, she's very vocal and she knew who to contact and how to keep working through that system. But there are so many that don't have a clue about what to do. And that's why it's important for us, as all of us here with Bishop Harper, Elder Edmond, Pastor Cater, and Mother Davis, while we're coming and actually having this show, to bring out information and to make sure that you know that for those who you're contacting or know about, to let them know to please check your coverage. Please check, because you may not even know until an incident happens. Mm-hmm. You know, when we look at every aspect of our lives, it's affected by our health. We can't work if we aren't healthy. Our children can't attend school if they aren't healthy. We can't enjoy vacations and family quality time if we aren't healthy. And as Georgia continues to brag about being the #1 place to do business, guess what? If the workforce isn't healthy, we won't have any businesses to be able to say that we're the #1 place to do business. So that's why it's very important. It affects everything that we're doing, is making sure that our communities have the health insurance that they need. You know, the listening audience, you may be wondering, why did Georgia suddenly remove all these people from receiving coverage? I'm gonna share a few facts with you, and definitely I'll go back to the our guests to get their comments on these particular facts. Well, the federal government mandated all states to verify the eligibility of everyone with Medicaid coverage after the federal pandemic era protections ended. And those protections, all you all know, when we had COVID. And what happened was the federal government blocked any states from dropping people from their Medicaid coverage. And so they even enrolled some other people in just to make sure everybody had coverage during that time, during COVID. But guess what? Now COVID is over with, even though we still have some effects of it. And that's a whole nother conversation as to why Medicaid is the coverage is important. But so now that COVID is over with, the federal government said, we want to make sure that the people who are still on Medicaid actually are qualified to be on Medicaid. So that's why that mandate went to all the states. So it wasn't just Georgia. The unfortunate part is, for Georgia, 2.8 million Georgians had to go through redetermination, which represented 1/4 of the state population. That's a lot of people, y'all, 1/4. 71% of Georgians losing Medicaid are children. And it's not because they're not eligible, it's due to what we call red tape. And that's lack of paperwork. Yes. So Bishop, even when you think about that, you know, the loss of Medicaid for children, it wasn't even their own fault. It was how the state was actually looking at the redetermination or recertification. Do you have any comments about that whole loss of children and even people with disability? With a larger number of those that lost coverage as well.
Yes, thank you, Representative Stovall. I think, you know, it's a travesty. It really was a travesty to have anyone drop from those roles who really needed, but the number who were displaced from being able to receive the proper medical care due to the fact the loss of Medicaid is a travesty. Somewhere in my mind and in my heart, I just felt like the state should have anticipated persons who were not that computer savvy, if you will, to when they received an email or whether or not they were even familiar with the email system, that they didn't take in account for it. However, I realize that each individual is responsible for themselves, but somewhere there should have been another safety net. But it has happened. The people have been dropped. I think we need to come up with a plan of action. And I think this is what this telecast is all about, to really start a groundswell of support, a plan of action of how we can reach those persons who have been dropped and show them how to get back on the road. I've heard of the wonderful work that Mother Davis has done over the years in signing up so many seniors, which is so commendable, and you have to have a heart for that. So I just think it's a travesty. And after having said this, one of the things that I've talked to Sister Mary Cater, who is the chairman of our political action committee of our jurisdiction, is that during our winter conference, which we call our workers meeting, we're going to open up that Saturday. We'll make a place in our sanctuary on that Saturday for persons to come in, and hopefully we can secure personnel from the state to come in, and so we can facilitate these persons to be signed up. And these are the kind of activities that need to be ongoing.
Yes, most definitely, Bishop. They definitely need to be ongoing. And when you think about the state and their responsibility, as a former elected official, you know, we vote on the budget, which is mandated for us to do. But along with that, we have to put policies in place and vote on policies that affect Georgians every day on their lives. And this particular one with, you know, Georgia not expanding Medicaid, which is Georgia's one of 10 states, according to the AJC article, that did not end up expanding Medicaid. And what happened, this situation like this would have been, like you said, that safety net that those others who actually have been dropped, you know, so now you have almost two different processes that the state is having to go through. Those who had previously been on Medicaid before the pandemic, who actually were eligible, and then those who were placed on Medicaid, you know, during the pandemic, who normally would not have been receiving Medicaid. So I think, you know, being able to have places for the individuals to be able to go and get the help they need. You know, the state, their caseworkers, I believe, are still working remotely. So how can you work remotely with such a travesty where people have lost, you know, their insurance coverage and they need it, and especially our children. I mentioned earlier about children, people not going to the doctor every month, so they wouldn't know. And I give you another incident. My dad, who receives Medicaid and Medicaid, like I said, I had just renewed him in January for February. And so I was thinking everything was okay. Then I received a letter and it said, you need to renew. I was like, I just renewed. Why do I need to renew? And so you have a lot of people that's caught in that situation that was real close to the time that they end up receiving the renewal letter, that may have just thrown it away and just didn't know that they were supposed to renew. So luckily, of course, I have been hearing and talking with some of my former colleagues, and it's like, Melissa, you better go back in and renew for your dad, or he's not going to have that Medicaid. So I went back in the system, and that system is not user-friendly at all. It's very complicated. And so when you think about that, and I think Bishop, you mentioned even about having access to the internet, it's another, people knowing, I was seeing as many of them are not internet savvy. They may know how to go on Facebook or something like that, but when you tell them to use a smartphone, which is a small device, to go on a website that they have to navigate through, they're not savvy like that. And so they become frustrated and not be able to do that. Mother Davis, did you find some of the individuals in the case where you were helping that would end up being a barrier? And I think even one thing you mentioned also when we were talking offline was the literacy rate. Some of them don't, you know, can't read. So Mother Davis, will you touch on that just for a few seconds? Unmute yourself.
Thank you. When the Council on Aging was open, the people could come in and we would go on the computer and fill the forms out for them. But after it closed and they couldn't go there, well, I've had people to come to my church and I've been able to help them to fill the form out. Some of them don't read as well with the understanding of what they are asking for because they think, well, I've done this once. I've filled out a form once. They don't really understand that you do this every 12 months because they need to know, DFAC need to know where you are, if your name has changed, if your income is the same, how many people live in the facility. All of this is important for them in order to continue to ensure you and you get your SNAP, which are the food stamps, and for the children to be able to go to school and get peach care and all of that. But yes, it's a matter of not being able to really understand how to fill out the forms, and we have to do it in a way you never want to embarrass anyone, so you just help them to do it. I would read and ask the question and put the answer in and let them sign and get the form mailed off. So this has been a doable thing that I've been able to do.
Thank you. And that's a lot, I don't think many people thought about, that aspect, their literacy rate and the ability of those who are receiving Medicaid. And a lot of times when they don't understand, I served on the education committee and we looked at education, of course, from 0 to 12th grade. But even looking at our literacy rate here in the state, we have a low literacy rate for kids that, up to the age to the 3rd grade. So when you think about combining that with adults and with seniors, who may not have understood the letter and were too embarrassed to say, hey, let me ask somebody to read this to me to help me to understand, then they end up getting, removed from Medicaid, which should not even happen. And like you said, many people have not updated their information in the system. And so the system that we're referring to is a gateway system. That is the major website that the state of Georgia uses to qualify individuals for food stamps or SNAP, for Medicaid, for CAPS, which is a child subsidy money for child care, and also TANF, which is temporary assistance for needy families. So all of those people are going into this particular gateway or this website to get support. But what we're talking about today is specifically for Medicaid recipients. Making sure that they check their coverage and status is very, very important. Go in the system, update your information. A lot of times people say, I don't want the government knowing I moved, but I don't want them to know that I moved. Well, in this case, they need to know that you moved so that you can have this coverage that you need. So, Elder Kaiser, when you think about the work that you all are doing with the Political Action Committee, and you mentioned about this particular, you all had done the souls to the poll, and now we're doing the souls to Medicaid 911 because it's an emergency. So what can you encourage other churches or ministries, who may not have the Political Action Committee, and what things that the PAC will be working on with this particular Medicaid debacle?
It seems to me like, and what I'm hearing, and this became emergent. I know this became an emergency, and I thank God for you and Mother Goodson being on the front line with this, and becoming aware of this. But it seems like what I'm hearing is that there's some folk out there don't know. They don't know the situation. So it seems to me that I don't know if we need to put together something that we can share with our various pastors in the jurisdiction that can go just just basically make people aware you may have a problem that you don't know exists, and just a little blurb of something, some talking points for these pastors to share, so that we can identify the people and get them, make sure that they get this assistance that is so needful for them. And you don't want to, you don't want, sometimes it's when you need it, it comes a situation when you really need it, and to find out, oh, well, the government didn't do a good job of letting the folk know, what was going on. Well, and unfortunately, you're in a bad situation because the government didn't, whether executive branch or policymakers. I'm not sure who is at, who has a major fault here, but that's a problem, and we've got to address it. And I think maybe the one way we could do this. I know Bishop is talking about this, and I know we got 4 Saturday coming up this weekend. Perhaps it could also be shared at that time, for pastors to know that they got members who need to know.
Right, definitely. Yes, go ahead, Mother Davis.
I have an idea. We need to go to the centers, the community center where the seniors go. They go there, the Bowden Center, Mill Center, all the different centers, and let the seniors know.
Right. And that's definitely a great idea, because that's where they hang out at. My dad hangs out at his senior center, and I know in Clayton we have several senior centers there where the seniors are. And I know whenever I need to get information to the seniors, that's where I would go to make sure that they were informed on things that were happening. I want to run through some more facts, because some people may not know some of these statistics. Adults who recently turned 18 represent nearly 28% of the children that were removed in states like Georgia that did not expand Medicaid. So if the adults turned 18, 28% of them were removed in our states like Georgia that did not expand Medicaid. The U.S. Health and Human Services Secretary, Becerra, sent a letter to Georgia stating that nearly 150,000 Georgia children had lost Medicaid coverage as of September. And y'all, we're talking about September of 2023. 150,000 Georgia children. We're not talking about another state. We're talking about Georgia. And this was in an article that was written December 2023. Governor Kemp then set aside $54 million in federal funds to address what he called a strategic surge to get state workers help with handling the massive job of checking the eligibility. Children lost coverage because, like we said earlier, Georgia did not auto-renew enrollees on a person-by-person basis, regardless of the eligibility of others living in their household. So let me explain to you what that means. So instead of Georgia saying, since you were on Medicaid and you're a child, we're going to automatically auto-renew you. That would have been the simplest thing to do. But Georgia did not do that. What they did was went by a person-by-person basis. So what happens when you're applying for assistance, like with Medicaid, of course, the adult will put their information in. They will put their child's information in. What the state of Georgia did was went by the adult for qualifying that child, which they should not have done. So that is what caused or resulted in a large number of those children being removed from the Medicaid roll. And I know, Pastor Cater, you have children, they may be adults, but you have, grandchildren. When you think about, children being automatically taken off because of, we call red tape or a glitch in the system, what's your thoughts on that and the amount of money that the governor has set aside to be able to get the information out? Do you think that's enough, or what more can they be done besides talking with groups and organizations like what we're trying to do here?
Well, it really breaks my heart when I think about the children because they are the future. And, you know, when you have children out there that don't have this Medicaid, for whatever reason, you know, maybe the parents uh, dropped the ball, or maybe they didn't even they didn't even know what was going on. This information came out and hit people so fast, and it put them in a position of, you know, urgency. And we really, I think that the state of Georgia really needs to apply more money to this, because those numbers that you read off, it's really troubling to me and to my spirit, and my heart goes out to all of those kids, you know, because I'm a truck driver also, and I see children walking up and down the Atlanta streets every day, and you know, I see a lot of kids that need some medical attention. And, you know, we've already had some of the hospitals, I know that might not be the topic, that have shut down in Georgia, right here in the state of Atlanta. So, you know, we need to get that coverage back, especially over our kids and their parents, but we need to get that coverage back. And I believe what is happening right now is going to reach the right people and be able to touch their heart. And what we're doing right now in this um, this meeting and this agenda tonight, I believe that it touched the right people to get exactly what we need to happen.
Right, most definitely. And then I also wanted to share, so the state of Georgia was required by the Department of Human Services, the federal department, to tell them what methods or what is Georgia going to do to ensure that those people who were inadvertently disenrolled are enrolled back again. And so Georgia has adopted 7 strategies that were approved by the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services. And this is the federal agency that oversees the Medicaid for the United States. And so it was 7. I think there may have been 15 options that the federal government gave to the states, and Georgia adopted 7 of these strategies. And one was targeted SNAP strategy, where they will look at those who are already receiving SNAP and kind of target them, because more than likely, if they're receiving SNAP, a lot of them also receive Medicaid. They have a targeted TANF strategy. I mentioned to y'all earlier that TANF was the temporary assistance with needy families. So those are checks that they usually get monthly that's given to the parents. So they're going to target them kind of similar. Beneficiaries with no income renewal. So those who were beneficiaries are the ones that did not have to show income for renewal. They're going to target them. Streamlined asset verification. So a lot of times where you have to, and Mother Davis even had talked about this before, you have to show all of this assets that you have. So if you have property, you have income in your checking account, all of that stuff you have to show proof of, your medical bills, all of that. So some kind of streamlined verification the state has agreed to do. Managed care organizations, beneficiary contact updates. So there are managed care organizations that work with the state, like some of the ones that actually maintain the coverage for the kids, for Peach Care for kids. So and so they'll be targeting those organizations, having them to contact their individuals that signed up under them for Medicaid to be able to offset, to make sure that they know about the renewal process. Another one is working with the United States Postal Service to double check addresses to see, because a lot of times when you change your address or you move, the first organization that you're going to contact is the United States Post Office, because guess what? You want your mail. So that's another strategy that they are trying to do, is kind of work with them with double checking addresses. And then for those who don't know, anytime you're dealing with the federal government or the state government and something happens to you, there's always an appeal process. And so what they want to do also is have a fair hearing time frame extension for those who were removed and now having to go back and appeal that particular process. So those are some of those are the 7 strategies, you know. But the good news about it, and with us on here talking about it, besides getting the information about it, we want to be about action. And, you know, there are some other communities that have stepped up, you know, like Mother Davis. And there was a community group that was referenced in the AJC article that did an event in Stonecrest to assist with recertification. And when you read that article, it's so disheartening to know that people were actually sitting outside at 4 a.m. in the morning, waiting to be able to come into that particular event in order to be to find out their status and to get recertification. And they did have workers, state workers on site, but they're just a small fragment of you seeing how the need is across the state for people to be able to get their recertification. And that means that those people probably did not have a clue that they didn't have coverage, or they didn't have the access to be able to go online and the wherewithal to be able to do that. So, you know, I appreciate the leadership from Bishop Harper, who is allowing the Political Action Committee for South Central Georgia jurisdiction, you know, to partner with advocates like myself to not just talk about the issue, but put it into action, because that's very, very important. And so we want everyone to mark your calendar for March the 2nd, 2024. We will be at Paradise Gymnasium and Culture Center at 4295 Hendricks Drive, Forest Park, Georgia, 30297. And that's where Bishop Fortson is, and Dr. Elder Paul Fortson are there at that, going to be responsible at that facility. But we're partnering with them, the PAC that I mentioned to you about. And we have invited the state departments of Department of Human Services, DFACS, Department of Community Health, and the Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disabilities, because you all heard me mention earlier about those that are disabled. And a lot of those receive what's called Medicaid comp waivers. And so that's a whole separate issue with those being removed from the system because they need their services. And so we've invited those departments to come and join us. We're waiting for confirmation. And if we don't receive the confirmation, then we're still going to have individuals there to help, like what Mother Davis has been doing. So we're not filling out in the forms for you, but we'll, you know, help walk you through the process, make sure you understand what the letter says, and kind of guide you on this is the gateway where you would need to go and get information. And for those of you all who are listening and want to know the information, you can go to gateway.ga.gov, GATEWAY.ga.gov, or you could call the 1-877-423-4746. That's 1-877-423-4746. And they have automated services that the state does for that. Now, you may wait a long time, because remember how many people we said, you know, that are in need of making sure that they're recertified. And this site can be accessed by desktop, smartphone, or your tablet. It also handles the enrollment for, I talked about it earlier, Medicaid, food stamps, CAPS, TANF, Georgia Pathways, which is a program that that Governor Kemp has implemented into the state to supposedly help those who were not able to get in because the state did not expand Medicaid. But they're seeing some issues with that because there are some requirements that go along with you trying to get insurance, you know, from that particular program. And so we want to make sure that you all know, like I said, March the 2nd, and then we're going to be at Bishop Harper's church on March the 23rd from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Bishop Will, or either Elder Kaiser, can you give that address for the church for Kelly Lake?
Yes, that's the address is 2411 Whites Mill Road, and that's Decatur, Georgia, 30032.
All right,
2411 Whites Mill Road, Decatur, Georgia.
Okay. Thank you. So, we're here, and we appreciate everyone for tuning in and joining us for this particular most important, urgent 911 the souls to Medicaid 911. It's an emergency. And we appreciate Bishop Harper taking time out of his schedule. I know he's very, very busy. And also Elder Kaiser, Edmond, Pastor Cater, and Mother Davis. And I would like to offer them any remarks that they would like to make before we close this segment out. And then, of course, you all, I have my say what, and I have some announcements that I'm going to make. But I want to allow them to have any closing remarks about what we're working on, about the urgency of knowing about the Medicaid loss of coverage. And so you all know it's over 488,000 people that still, as of right now, may not even know that they are not covered. So we will definitely start with Bishop Harper for any closing remarks that you may have, sir.
Well, Representative Stovall, I want to thank you for your service, and thank you for your community activism, and thank you for your passion in this matter. It reaches home to everybody. It is the essence of our humanity, to say the least. And thank you for bringing this out today. And I want to thank Sister Mary Gator, who is the chairman of our Political Action Committee of our jurisdiction, who's also very passionate about this, and we want to take action, and we'll be moving forward to do whatever we can do, whatever plans we can put together to activate to help get these people back on road. Thank you again for your service.
Thank you. All right, next we'll hear from Elder Edmond in the closing remarks.
Representative Stovall, I got to tell you that I'm going to follow protocol. The bishop has spoken.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Pastor Cater.
Yes. God bless you, Representative Stovall, who is my cousin. And I do think, just wanted everybody to know that. I do agree 100% with what our bishop has said. I also just want to say that I thank God for you again, Mother Davis. Also my mother, Mary Ward Cater, who has been working diligently in this matter, and made me aware of it. And so I have jumped on it, and we're excited. I just want to tell the people, just stay encouraged. Things are going to work out. I believe everything is going to work out. We got to keep fighting, keep marching, and 911 souls to Medicaid.
Sir.
Thank you, Pastor Cater. All right, Mother Davis.
Thank you. What time we're going to be at Paradise? I don't recall hearing the time.
Okay.
On March 2nd.
Okay.
Did you give a time?
I may not have. I think I probably was thinking it in my head. I probably didn't read it off. So thank you for bringing it to my attention. So we're going to be at Paradise Gymnasium and Culture Center. That's at 4295 Hendricks Drive in the great city of Forest Park, Georgia, 30297. And it'll be 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. So, of course, our ultimate goal is to be able to help individuals to be recertified. But if we do not have any caseworkers or state workers there, and because of personal information and being careful about that, then we'll just be able to give out information on the best way of how to be able to contact the state by giving you the website. If you need help to look over your paperwork, to make sure you understand what it is that you're doing. And most importantly, is getting the word out to other individuals to check your status. So, Mother Daisy, did you have any final remarks?
Just remind the people to bring your ID, proof of income, change of address, anything that's different than what it was before. please bring that with you.
Okay, thank you. And if there are other faith-based organizations that are definitely interested in partnering with what we're doing, like we said, we'll be March the 2nd. We'll be in Forest Park March the 23rd. We will be in Decatur with Bishop Harper's church there. And so we're looking for definitely to be able to partner with others to help get the word out. We only a few, but a few can become very mighty in getting the word out to the people. And that was the purpose of this particular show today. And so if you would like to have more information, you can definitely send me an email at contact@ghoststovall.com, contact@ghoststovall.com. And we'll definitely reach back out. We'll be starting to promote the event for the 2nd this week, of course. And we just look forward, we're excited about the opportunity to be able to work together in partnership to be able to help our community that need us the most. And I think there was a question from Facebook. Is there anything in place to help adults who lost their Medicaid to recover their income? That's a question I don't have an answer to. That would be a question that you could be able to call the 1-877-423-4746 number to try to get an answer. Or if you have your caseworker's name and number when you applied before, you could definitely reach back out to them. And so that's about all I could give you. I don't want to tell you something that I don't have any answers for, but I know that particular part, I know that you can be able to do that. And I think that was out of seeing the other questions that we have. So at this time, I'm going to let our guests know that they are welcome. If they want to exit the interview, I'm just going to go into another segment of my show that I do every year. And not every year, I do it every year, but every month. I'm on twice a month, the first and third Mondays of the month at 4 p.m. And we talk about different issues, like this particular issue of Medicaid 911. Souls to Medicaid 911. So thank you all again for joining us here. So everyone, I'm gonna go right into what time is it? It's time for the Say What segment. So every day there are situations happening all around us that make us want to say, what in the what? So say what for today, for right now, is the presidential primary is coming up on March the 12th to determine the Democratic and Republican nominees. Yeah, some of you all didn't even know that there's an election. And guess what? Early voting is starting today. It's already started. And so because it already started today, there's going to be 3 weeks of in-person early voting leading up to the March the 12th presidential primary. So you all pay attention. Go to mvp.sos.ga.gov to find out where your first of all, to check your voter status and to find out where the early voting precincts are located. That's mvp.sos.ga.gov. So that's very, very important for that presidential primary. And you all, I don't need to say no more. You've been seeing enough about that in the news. Okay. So our next Say What is Georgia General Assembly. Of course, it's still in session. And you all going to have to keep your eyes on these bills because they are moving fast. When I say fast, fast, fast. Crossover is on February the 28th. And for those who don't know about crossover, this is the time when bills must pass either chamber in order to have an opportunity to make it to the governor's desk for either signing, or it can lay on his desk for 40 days and it automatically becomes law, or he can veto it, which means it's dead. No more. And I have seen some bills that have come down and just been dead. So make sure that you're paying attention to that. A couple of more announcements as we get ready to get close to our 5 o'clock hour. Every show, of course, we encourage your support for Georgia House Bill 89 to create a reparations commission to recommend appropriate policy remedies for descendants of chattel slavery in Georgia. You can get involved by visiting reparationssunday.info. Reparations with an S, Sunday.info. And I definitely want to give a shout out, as always, to Tamara Shealy, who has been leading these efforts. So those things that you saw on, probably saw recently on the news, Tamara Shealy was the one that thought about this particular legislation and approached the legislator to introduce it. And so we always have to give credit where credit is due. And we appreciate the legislative body for pushing it. But there's other ways that we could be able to get this done. And it starts with everybody working together and starting when they're not in session to work those bills through, and those other things that may hinder the bill. That's when you do it. I've been successful being able to get 2 bills passed when doing my 8-year tender, and it was not easy. It actually took about two years for each bill to actually get through the legislative process. But House Bill 614, the Landon-Johnson Act, that allows video cameras in the classrooms of special needs students, was passed and signed into law. House Resolution 279, which designates March the 21st as Single Parent Day in the state of Georgia to help support our single parents and provide them with resources that's needed. It was passed and signed into law. So I know just a little bit, and then I've also been able to co-sponsor or co-author over a dozen bills that were signed into law. So I just know a little bit about the process. But on a happier note, baby Nova, I told y'all last episode that I was expecting my first grandchild. So baby Nova arrived yesterday night, y'all. Woo! Oh, so precious. My daughter and baby both are doing fine. She weighs 7 pounds and 10 ounces. Yes, I have joined the grandmother club, and my dad has joined the great grandfather's club. We haven't had a baby in the family for 20 years, so oh boy, baby Nova's gonna get all that love and attention. I want to know, for those of you all who are grandparents, do the grandparents have a club that you all meet in? And is it in person or is it online? Y'all just let me know. I just want to know, since I'm new to the club. But baby Nova will not be calling me grandmother or Gigi or Nana or G-Mom. My title would be Iya, and it's pronounced Eeyah, but it's spelled Iya. It's Iya, which means mother or grandmother in the Yoruba language. Yes, I'm remaining true to my ancestral heritage with the Yoruba line. And baby Nova's dad is so excited, you all. I think he almost wanted to cry. He may have cried when the baby came out. I just didn't see it. And so, of course, there's a lot of excitement in the household. I want to thank my co-host, Dr. Minister Dietrich Poindexter and Change for Hope, for the annual I Am Powerful Teen Summit. Our theme was I Am My Brothers and Sisters Keeper, Lean on Me. And we held the summit on this past Saturday at the Golden Glide Skating Rink in Decatur. Thank you. Big shout out to Mr. Rob Davis for partnering with us for the second year. Thanks to our sponsors, El Cantari, A New Way, Royal Diadem International Consortium, Georgia Youth Career Center, Empire Board of Realtors, Design with Jay Henry, Mink Snacks, Ari Makes It Happen Productions, Seven Pillars Career Academy Charter School in Clayton County, Mattress Choice, Talia Yanez, Sims Book Publishing Corporation, Stanley and Clementine Rivers Foundation, and Zuri Poindexter. We appreciate all our sponsors for our Teen Summit. And shout out to the Greeks who came out to demonstrate brotherhood and sisterhood to the teens. The sororities that were present were Alpha Kappa Alpha, sorority Delta Sigma Theta, which I am a member of, and Sigma Gamma Rho. And for the fraternities represented was Alpha Phi Alpha, Iota Phi Theta, and Phi Beta Sigma. And we actually had a step show, y'all. Phi Beta Sigma and Delta Sigma Theta participated in our step show. So we had a great time on Saturday. Now, do you know single parents in Georgia, male or female, who you would like to invite to celebrate with us? Yes, we're doing a 3-day celebration for Georgia Single Parent Day in the state of Georgia. Yeah, I told y'all about House Resolution 279. We're going to kick off Georgia Single Parent Day on March the 21st, which is the official day, and it's going to be at the state capitol. Yes, we're honoring 33 nominated individuals representing 21 Georgia cities. So this is just not a Clayton County or Fayette County or DeKalb. No, this is a whole 159 counties. But we have 21 Georgia cities that's represented by our single parents who are going to get recognized. So that's on March the 21st. We're going to meet up at 9 a.m. in the rotunda. We're going to take pictures and we're just going to celebrate our single parents. Now, that Friday, March the 22nd, we're going to meet up at Golden Glide Skating Rink for family skate night. Now, that cost is $15 to come out to there. And then we're going to culminate our annual celebration with our Georgia Single Parent Legacy Builders Recognition and Awards Banquet on Saturday, March the 23rd at 2 p.m. at 4 Point Sheraton Airport Hotel in East Point. Now, don't show up on the day thinking you're going to be able to buy a ticket. We do not sell any tickets at the door. So you can go to nationallg.org. That's https://nationallg.org. And that's where you can purchase your ticket. If you all want to have ad in our souvenir booklet, you can. We have a half page for $50, a whole page, full page for $100. Or if you would like to be a sponsor, we are welcoming all of those and a sponsor for all 3-day events that we're having. So make sure you go to the website. You can also reach me in contact at ghoststovall.com if you would like to be a part. And so we've already done the nomination. So now we'll just be doing the celebration. Are you a leader in business, nonprofit, faith-based, government, or community in Clayton County, and you're concerned about healthy food choices and physical activities? Then join the Hand, Heart, and Soul Clayton Collaborative SNAP-Ed monthly meetings. So you all, we want to hear from leaders in Clayton County about what they would like to see happen and put it into action. So we're not just meeting just to meet. We have to put stuff into action. And our next meeting is going to be February the 28th at 1 p.m. at the Northwest Branch Library in Clayton County. That's February the 28th at 1 p.m. And if you want some more information, definitely you can reach me at GYCC at handheartsoulproject.org. GYCC at handheartsoulproject.org. Well, guess what, y'all? Time has caught us. All good things must come to an end. We will be back on Monday, March the 4th with new topics and exciting guests. The goal of Issues and Answers with yours truly, Honorable Stovall, is to educate you on those things that you might not think about unless you are in a situation to be concerned. Remember, we talked about souls to Medicaid 911. That's a situation for you to be concerned about. And so that's why we touch those type of issues on Issues and Answers. Remember, you can definitely reach out at contact@ghoststovall.com if you want more information about the March the 2nd event that we're coming up, that where we're going to see how we can tackle and do our part as a community with the Political Action for South Central Georgia committee, and with myself and other advocates on March the 2nd, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. at Paradise Gymnasium and Culture Center in Forest Park. All right, for now, that's it. Thank you all for joining. Thank you again, Bishop Harper, Elder Edmond, Pastor Kaiser, and Mother Davis for joining us today on Issues and Answers. And we had a robust conversation about Medicaid loss and coverage in the state of Georgia. All right, you all enjoy yourself and have a good rest of your evening.